can you tell me about Therese?
I called her Tess.
And Tess, she befriended you?
She was beautiful, like an angel. The only good thing in this place.
You sleep in the stable, don't you, Joe? So you see who comes and goes from the house at night?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Foy didn't come straight home that Saturday night, did he?
I don't know, sir. I was sleeping.
Is that the truth, Joe?
Honest, sir. I was sleeping.
What's going on here? Who the deuce are you?
Therese Laporte was a very pretty girl.
Bit young for me, I'm afraid.
Still, it must have been tempting.
What? Noblesse oblige? That sort of thing? Lord of the manor claiming his due?
Well, maybe she went after you. Young, good-looking man, a doctor, no less. The young girl might set her heart on becoming the future Mrs. Rhodes.
Bit far-fetched, isn't it?
Even if she contrived to get herself with child.
Was she with child?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Your coachman says that he drove you and Miss Shepcote to her home on Saturday evening. No, thank you. How late did you stay there?
Until after midnight. Harriet wanted to discuss our wedding. She's full of the most extraordinary plans.
Tell me, Dr. Rose, do you ever administer opiates to your patients?
Of course I do. Morphine, laudanum, they're standard treatments in my sort of practice.
What sort of practice is that, sir?
I specialize in the treatment of a nervous condition called neurasthenia.
How do you treat it?
With various techniques, medication, healthy diet, and animal magnetism. Why?
You mean mesmerism?
Yes. I use it to induce a state of tranquility.
You send your patients into a trance.
I prefer the term healing reverie.
Isn't neurasthenia considered a female complaint?
I hope you're not implying anything irregular.
As do I, damn it.
Alderman Shepcote, sir.
I got here as quickly as I could. Godfrey Shepcote.
Detective William Murdoch.
This young man's marrying my daughter.
Detective Murdoch has just been interrogating me.
A few routine questions, sir. Hardly an inquisition.
I wonder if you'd leave us for a minute.
Of course. Detective?
Damnable business, this. Donalda's beside herself. She doesn't need you meddling in her affairs.
I'm investigating the murder of a young girl, sir.
A murder. You're certain of that? I'd assumed it was an accident. Or even, God forbid, a suicide.
It was murder, sir.
Then we must find the killer. I'll post a reward for anyone coming forward with information. Put it on the front page of the Signal.
It's entirely up to you, sir.
Boost circulation and help the police while I'm at it.
Yes, I wonder, sir, if you might trace your whereabouts on that Saturday evening.
My movements. Well, I had supper here. Then I went straight to my club. My man Canning drove me there.
Can anyone other than Mr. Canning verify this?
Of course they can. You are aware that Chief Constable Grasset is my very good friend. We marched together on the Orange Parade.
Here you are, Detective. The list you wanted of Therese's things. She had very little, I'm afraid. 2 sets of clothes and a small valise.
Thank you.
Detective.
Mrs. Rhodes, you said that Therese was a Roman Catholic.
Yes.
Do you know if she owned a prayer book or a rosary?
A rosary? What the devil is that?
A rosary?
It's a string of beads with a crucifix on the end. Roman Catholics use them to count off their prayers.
Yes. Yes, I believe I did see her holding a string of beads once or twice. Blue glass, I think they were.
Dr. Ogden,
Detective Murdoch?
am I interrupting your luncheon?
No. I come here to escape the odor of formaldehyde while I'm eating. Although I often think I carry that scent with me.
No, not that I can detect.
Was there something?
Some medical advice. Therese Laporte worked in the house of a doctor who practiced mesmerism.
In Europe, they call that hypnotism.
Could that practice have been used to subdue Miss Laporte?
Well, yes. A skilled hypnotist can wield extraordinary power.
So it's not just hocus pocus for the gullible?
No. I could show you, if you like. Well, one of my professors was an alienist, and he taught me the rudiments.
I don't think.
Sit down. Sit on the bench. Just clear your mind and relax and let your thoughts drift as though you hadn't a care in the world. Now, see how the light dances, glistens on the gold, and your mind empties of all but my voice and the light and the breeze on your skin, and everything disappears, and your eyelids grow heavy, and you hear my voice, and you're calm and rested, and you're at peace with the world. And your eyes are meant to close, Detective.
Aren't they closed?
No. They're staring straight at me.
Oh, sorry.
Well, not everyone is susceptible.
But I am. That is, I feel remarkably rested.
Good. Good. Well, that means it wasn't a complete waste of time. Speaking of which, I have an appointment with the death by drowning.
Oh. I'll walk you.
No need. Here, have this. I didn't want to waste it.
May I help you?
Detective William Murdoch, I'd like to speak to Miss Harriet Shepcote, please.
Well, you'll find the tradesman's entrance at the rear.
Tell Miss Shepcote I won't keep her. Your father seems very pleased with your choice of fiancée. The Rhodes are a fine old family, though perhaps not as prosperous as they once were.
Do you think Father arranged my marriage to increase his social standing? You're wrong, Detective. He takes great pride in his humble beginnings.
Then you must be marrying for love.
Yes, I am in love. He is so handsome and clever. I've known him since I was a child. We're very close, he and I. More like brother and sister, really, than...
Then?
Our love grew out of our friendship.
You and Dr. Rhodes dined together on Saturday at his home. You came here afterwards?
Yes, that's right.
I want you to think very carefully, Miss Shepcote. What time did Dr. Rhodes leave here that evening?
He stayed until after midnight, just as he claims.
Just as he claims, Miss Shepcote.
That is, I assume, when you spoke to him...
I understand you love him. You would do anything he asked you. But a girl has been murdered, Miss Shepcote. And I need you to tell the truth.
He was playing billiards at the Yeoman Club. He wanted to conceal it from his mother. She doesn't approve of his gambling.
Harriet?
Yes, Father, we're in here.
You again.
Yes, sir.
I'll assist your investigation, Detective, but I won't let you harass my daughter. Canning?
Father, please.
Show Detective Murdoch the door.
Yes, sir.
Therese Laporte left the Rhodes house shortly after 7:30. That's the last time she was seen alive. Now, we found her body 3 hours later right here.
John O'Neill Tavern's here.
Right, so Alice Duff must have followed this route home at around 9 o'clock.
And the other doxie follows...
She has a name, Constable.
Yes, sir. Eddie Weston follows her half an hour later.
Right, now Arthur Foy and Hugh Rhodes leave the Rhodes house at about 8 o'clock, and they follow this route down to the Shepcote house on Phoebe Street. Rhodes stays there for a while, and then he takes a cab to the Yeoman Club here.
What about Foy?
He says he went home immediately and his wife supports him. If the stable boy knows anything, he's not telling.
So either Rhodes or Foy must have fathered her child.
Very likely. Although young maids have been known to run to their lovers without their mistresses knowing.
You reckon that's why she was killed? Because she had a bun in the oven?
I'm keeping an open mind. She was alive, and then 3 hours later she was dead. So, what happened between here and here? You see this girl?
It's really stalkers.
I need to trace her movements Saturday night before she was killed.
So?
Could you ask the other newsboys? There's 2 bits in it.
$1.
50 cents.
What about this stable boy? If he's 14, he's old enough to sire a child.
He did seem fond of her.
2 lonely kids, a bit of hanky-panky in the hayloft. Wouldn't be the first time. Speaking of hanky-panky, hey, old gal.
What's he been up to?
Oh, just sharing a few happy memories. That night by the lake, for instance.
You didn't tell him that.
I thought he might find educational.
A terrible man, Arthur Kitchen. Quite incorrigible.
Start off, you shite. Hello, sweetmeat. Fancy a piece of mutton?
You. Get in.
Dr. Ogden,
Thank you for coming, Detective.
you found something?
I didn't sleep well last night. Something troubled me and I didn't know what it was. You know what that's like.
Oh, yes, of course.
So this morning I came in early, and as I was taking off my coat, suddenly I just knew. If I were the girl and somebody was strangling me from... But let me show you. Try and choke me.
Like this?
Yes. Now, I'd grab at whatever it was. I'd claw at it for all I was worth.
You'd have traces under your fingernails.
Exactly.
What did you find?
A strand of silk fiber from beneath the middle nail of her left hand. Have a look.
A silk cord?
A thick one. Possibly a curtain sash.
Microscopic evidence.
I believe it's quite the rage in Europe.
Don't tell the inspector. He believes that what can't be seen with the naked eye isn't worth bothering about.
That must be very difficult for you.
Less so, now I have an ally.
Well, feel free to use the microscope any time you need.
I don't suppose...
Don't suppose what?
I don't suppose... Perhaps some evening...
Yes? Excuse me, one moment. They've come for you, Detective. Something about newsboys.